Capriato, the Service Aftermarkets podcast pioneer with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and remarkableresults.biz or on my YouTube channel. Hey everybody, Carm Capriato, Remarkable Results Radio. I don't know, 9.5 years. I know that we're way over maybe 1,500 or so podcasts, but we're nearing the 1,000th on Remarkable Results Radio, and we're nearing the 400th on the Town Hall Academy, of which this is the Town Hall Academy. Good to have you here. Got a cool topic. What's the worst piece of advice you have ever been given in business? I just can't wait to dig into this. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. And by the way, this is going to be titled the Gray Beards episode, just in case you want to know and reference this in the future. Hey, I want to give great homage to our partners. You know, for over 30 years, Napa Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the best, most comprehensive SMS in the industry. We'll prove to you that Trax is the single best shop management system in the business. Find us at Napa Trax on the web at Napa, NAPATRACS.com. And, you know, you can fix your shop by AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching with help from all the great things that Chris Cotton brings you, from striving to surviving, from financial insights to operational excellence. Make your shop into a well-oiled machine with Chris Cotton, AutoShopCoaching.com. And are you ready to optimize with today's class? In just 5 minutes daily, boost knowledge, retention, and improve team performance. Start seeing results today. Join your peers at todaysclass.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Hey, look, everybody, welcome. I got to show you my panel here, and you'll see what I mean by the Gray Beards episode. Look careful. If you're on YouTube, obviously, if this is audio, you're not hearing beards, or you're hearing beards, not seeing beards. This is great. With me is Bill Nalu, CEO, Interstate Auto Care, Madison Heights, Michigan, who recently grew that thing, didn't you?
I got to be like my big brother.
Yeah, I know. Everybody wants to copy Carm. I get it.
Yes.
I understand. Judy Zimmerman, Walters, co-owner and CEO, Zimmerman's in Mechanicsburg, PA. Hi, Judy.
Hi, how are you?
Glad to see you, Judy. Brian Winograd is here, former shop owner, now a fleet manager at Chrysler dealership. A great background in the automotive. Started in the parts business, man. You bought a transmission shop. You did everything, and then you ended up doing what so many people wanted to do, Brian, and that is to sell the shop.
Well, I didn't want to. I was due to sickness that I had to sell.
Glad to have you here. So many great things to hear from Brian. And Jesse Matthews is with us from Crown Auto Repair in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Hey, Jess.
Hey, Carm. Thanks for the invite to be on the show again. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I loved the last time you were here. And I know, you as a kind of, if you will, a mobile guy going into brick and mortar, I can't imagine all the great advice you're getting. And it's probably great, but some of it you need to be careful for. Now, Judy, let's start with you. Let me see. Judy, someone once told you to be the cheapest on the block.
Well, when we first started, my dad started the business and he was told, you got to be cheap because there's too many other people in town. So you're going to have to just be cheap to make it work. And people are going to come to you because you're cheap. And that's what he was told. However, I'm not sure he always fell for it, but he understood getting him through the door. But with morals and so on, to switch and bait somebody with, get him in as somebody cheap and then sell them something more expensive. That's not the answer either. It does not build trust. It does not build anything like that would help the customer really want to come back to you.
My problem, everyone, sleeping at night. Truly, that would be my issue. I don't think I could do it ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Bill, it's same to you, right? Don't be the cheapest guy in town, or be the cheapest guy in town. Bill, you got some advice like that.
Judy, for the record here, in case anybody's watching this for the first time, is one of the best operators in the country. I love that sister to death. But what if I were to challenge Judy and us with the following, and that is that I got the same advice. I was told to be the cheapest guy in town, except also, Bill, Don't be the cheapest guy in town, but don't be the most expensive guy in town as well. And that well-intentioned piece of advice almost ruined my business and has ruined countless shops around the country. And it's not because what they're saying is untrue. It's that we don't understand the context of what they're actually saying. They're saying, you make it up on volume and you always want cars to come through. It's better to have something than nothing. And nobody's talking about the elephant in the room here. And the elephant in the room is, what the hell does that mean exactly? What do you mean by being the cheapest guy in town? I believe I am the cheapest guy in town. My prices are some of the highest in town. And so I love it when people's eyes start, well, how can that be? How can you be the cheapest guy in town and prices be the highest still? You mean to tell me that we can't agree on the fact that if we do good work for good money, we buy the part only one time, my supplier only has to deliver it one time, we only install it one time, I only pay my technician to do it one time, the manufacturer of the part only has to sell it one time. Even Mother Nature is happy because we don't have to replace a part 3 different times. And 2 of those times, those parts end up in some garbage bin collecting. How is doing good work for good money at the higher price not cheaper than doing half bleep work for half the money? Do we explain this to customers? And if we don't believe it ourselves, who's going to explain it to a customer? If your people don't understand that we're going to unabashedly tell customers that we are the cheapest in town. When somebody says, well, I want to do this as cheap as possible, can't you put a head gasket on my car at 180,000 miles on it? And I say to them, let me save you some money. It's going to be an all or nothing thing. Either we're going to do this the right way or we don't do it at all. Because I promise you the most expensive way is you finding the guy that's going to do it at your price. And then what do you have to show for it? What do you have to show for a half bleep brake job when you've got to bring it to me to do it the right way in the first place? I want to exercise this thing that we have in our industry where we're having completely 2 different conversations. I want to standardize this process. If you're doing good work, you are the cheapest guy in town. And I've had people say, well, I'll call it less expensive then. I said, no, I want to use the customer's verbiage. The customer says, I want to do this on the cheap. And what we need to say is, you found us. Congratulations. Let me show you how we're going to do that.
It's the same in any industry, though, isn't it? We all need contractors to put a roof on or window replacement. And, as a mechanic, I've tried to tackle some of those things myself because I'm, I could do it cheaper than the quote I got. And I've learned the hard way that let the pros do what they do in every field. And it is the same. And across the line, it's going to be less expensive and the cheapest to just call them the best guy, most qualified guy or gal for the job, do it right the first time, stand behind it if there is a problem. And, we do it in our business, but how many of us shop owners, we have pals, we hear them getting estimates for a roof or a job, and they're beating their customers down just like the guy over the counter treated them, earlier in the day. It goes both ways.
Yeah. What Brian's saying, Carm, is until we shop owners can agree with other shop owners and with our team members, until we can agree that the price of something that the customer's paying for isn't necessarily what it costs them, we think that those are the same thing. Well, the price of something is what it costs me. Well, we're only talking about the price of that thing here. We haven't discussed the other 2 things on that triangle. We haven't talked about the quality of said product that's going to be delivered. Mm-hmm. And oh, by the way, we haven't discussed when it's going to be delivered. And so the best example is you and I are best friends. You need me to do a brake job on your car. You can't afford anything, right? Somebody wants $600 down the street from you. So if I said, Carm, you know what? I can do it for free. I'll even bring the parts with me because we're best friends. But you know what, Carm? It's going to take me 2 years to get to you because I'm really, really busy. Suddenly that $600 isn't so expensive anymore because your time and the necessity of said product needs to be done. Or better yet, what if there's a 50% chance that the wheel comes off your car if your best friends decide to do the breakdown for you? All of a sudden, that's more expensive then. And yet we're talking about price all the time. But we as professionals need to be better than that. We need
Yeah,
to be having a higher level conversation with each other over this
Bill, I
topic.
got to stop you right now. I love your passion. We've had you on the show talking about this in the past. Very inspiring. Have you
Mhm.
been able to teach your son this passion
Yeah.
on your counter?
Yes, sir.
See,
Everybody understands that here.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very big part of the culture of your business, that we're going to do it right. We're going to do it once. We're going to do it of high quality. We're going to give you more value than you'll ever get, which ultimately makes us the least expensive over time.
Correct.
There you have it. Yeah.
With, I worry about paycheck to paycheck. I worry about credit card debt. I worry about financing, and I worry about doing things right. I got to tell you something. We were out doing some filming of Tracy getting her CVT transmission flushed, and it's on a Rogue, and it has to be filled from the bottom, pumped up into it, and done twice. And we were with great friend Brian Pollock, who is kind of a social media sensei, along with Paul Danner and Matt Fonslow. We were at the shop he works at, and there were so many additional little things that he did. I'm going to spray black paint here. He rotated her tires. He did a full inspection. And she's watching him saying, "Why did you do that?" Well, we do it for all of our customers. We've been doing it for years. There are so many things our clients do not see that we do, because it's in our ethic to do it always, always right.
We
And
take it for granted. We
yeah,
take what we do for granted.
and none of this is worst advice. This episode is about what's the worst advice you ever got. But ultimately, we're talking about maybe this is the name of the show, from worst to great.
Yeah.
Great advice, right? Because at the end of the day, you've taken your worst advice and turned it, because you guys are the consummate professionals that you are. And you said, this doesn't work. I got to sleep at night. What do you mean dishonest? What do you mean low price? And you ultimately realize, and Brian, you're also starting to do some consulting with your company, Winter Consulting. Am I right?
Yep.
So you're teaching all of this, aren't you?
Yes, and just one thing I would add to what you just said, that shop that does that professional job, call it a 23-point inspection. If you're not letting your customer know, whether it's in through a digital inspection report or in a written report, they don't know the time that you're taking. That makes your job have more value, not a perceived value, but a real value. When you go to your doctor who and they know you and they know what questions to ask, that is way different than going to an urgent care and that person just has met you for the first time. It doesn't mean that they don't care, but it's a different level of care. So we have to be better communicating what we do to our customer, even if we're not itemizing it in a line item as a charge. We have to show our work.
Yeah, and that was the whole purpose of this video. And Tracy and I are driving home. Hell, we have about a 40-mile ride back home. And she goes, "Dad, I had no idea." As I'm explaining to Tracy what she saw, and I'm thinking, there's all these YouTube videos, but there's no YouTube videos showing the consumer what's really going on in the professional shops today. To what level are they doing so that they're ensuring their work, and that they would do this for their own vehicle? Why not do it for a great client? So I get, Jesse, I want to bring you in. A worst piece of advice you ever got, I do believe, was about coaching. Am I right?
Yes, it was. My dad owns a hardwood flooring business, and he has for about 30 years. And I was talking to him about a year ago when I was early on starting my business, and I wanted to start off doing it the right way, learn how to run it profitably and properly. And I was looking for books and things like that, and I thought about a coach. And he said, and so I called him up. I'm like, "Hey, do you have a business coach, or have you ever used one?" He said, "Oh no, those are a waste of money. I paid $10,000 for one early on, and they didn't do me any good. It was a scam. So business coaches are not useful." So I thought about it, and then I found your podcast and a few other things and realized how many business coaches were available these days. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, he may have found the one bad seed, where now today we have a ton to pick through, not only based on their experience or what they teach or how they teach it or how they interact with the people that they are coaching. was the one thing that stuck out with me was the coach didn't work out for him. He's doing well, but I think if he had found one, he might be doing better.
Amen.
And that's true, Jesse. One of the things my dad used to always said to me is, if you look at positives and negatives, our biggest strength is we're independent, but our biggest weakness is that we're independent. In other words, nobody's going to tell me how to do it. I'm good.
Yeah.
And that's where the coaching comes in, and that kind of thing, because you think you know everything, and it would be really cool if you did, but hopefully not everybody knows everything. You have to know your area and know your customer client base, but then after that, you still could use some input from somebody that's a little bit more expert in the industry.
Brian, someone told you one time, don't waste your money on websites.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, websites were not the thing yet. They were only for big nationwide corporations. But I just left a York Chamber of Commerce meeting, and there was a presentation from a company trying to sell websites to businesses. So they had a captive audience. And I just opened my business, and I did everything the wrong way. I was a mechanic, not a business person. That story's been told a million times by every person that started a business long ago. But I saw the value in it, but I was getting input from other shop owners, Judy, from fellow, back then it was ASA in York County and in Harrisburg. I was a state delegate. That's how I met Judy and her husband. But it was 1995, and no independent shop of any kind had a website. I paid him the money, and that was the best employee I ever had. For 30 years, he never took vacation. He always scheduled appointments, got vehicles towed in, never called off sick, took maternity leave. I did have to update it once in a while, but you had to, back in the day, you had to refresh your Yellow Page ad, right? You didn't run the same thing. But went back and showed them, I said, look at all this work I'm getting from this website. And I still couldn't convince these guys that it was a good idea until like 10 years later, everybody started kind of jumping in. But the earlier you got in, the longer you were in, you had first position before maps and all the paid ads and all that came out.
So you were an early adopter.
I was. I listened to the counsel of many. I think that's wise. From young and old alike, people I respect and don't respect alike, because you never know when that person is going to bring a gem to you. So I listened to all, but I sifted through that inner business person or whatever it is in me that says this is gonna be good. And it was. If I had to count how much money that website made for me and brought business in, it would be probably in the last 10 years, probably accounted for 30% of my traffic.
I loved what he just said, the inner business person. That's a powerful 3 words, the inner business person. How many of us really, think about the struggling shops that are out there. This is why we do what we do. Jesse, you picked up on what we had to say and you learned a lot from it. All these different insights, nothing locked in stone. It's an encyclopedia of insights and information. The inner business person, are they locked in? I just wonder, maybe that's a great episode to do. Get the individual who I had no idea that I really had business inside of me. I just had to let it loose. I had to get some education. I started using my intuition to get where I needed to go. Stop listening to the worst advice ever. And that is, you're a technician and a mechanic and that's all you'll ever be. That's great advice, because you're never going to plateau. You're never going to get anywhere. You're just going to never not be able to pay the bills every month. Interesting. Judy, this is such an interesting worst advice ever take the competition's oil sticker off and put on yours.
That just goes again. My ethics scream to high heavens. I had a coach tell me that. He told me, and he told me, I do it all the time. And I'm sorry, I want to build relationships with my customers. I want them to trust me. I want them to know that I won't do something like that. Because if I change their oil sticker, what
They'll
else
know.
did I do? What else did I do? They're not going to know. And that is just so wrong. To me, that's wrong on so many levels. But it's just flat out. I think it's flat out dishonest. And if you don't agree with me, that's okay. But it works for me. That's kind of where we're at. When he said that, the inner voice just screamed.
Yeah. I mentioned it a little earlier here, maybe about 10 minutes ago. Sleep at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, let's face it, your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. Napa Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing tracks to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, we'll be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NapaTrax, that's NapaTracs.com. In the world of auto repair, every shop has its unique rhythm and challenges. At AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, they understand that one size does not fit all. That's why we offer personalized business coaching, tailoring our advice to meet your shop's specific needs. Transform your operations with strategies and tools to streamline your workflow, reduce waste, and skyrocket productivity. And when it comes to the numbers, we've got you covered. Our financial management guidance helps you master your finances from cash flow to profit margins, ensuring your revenue grows stronger. Every day, AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, empowering your shop to achieve more. Visit us at autoshopcoaching.com. Transform your team with today's class, where automotive training is easy, quick, and fun. Just 5 minutes a day on our app can eliminate hours of looking up forgotten information later. It's perfect for technicians, advisors, and managers alike. Keep critical knowledge fresh and top of mind, ensuring your team operates at peak efficiency. Today's class is impactful, accessible from anywhere, and a bit of fun too, and we're not talking about after-hours pizza either. For training that gets results, turn to todaysclass.com. Bill, you got some really bad advice. Don't give price over the phone.
What is that all about in our industry? It's like Republican, Democrat, right, left, and all this other stuff. What is it about this topic that causes us to lose our minds over that? And we're so binary in this. Either don't give a price at any cost, pun intended, or give a price. At no point is the conversation not being moved to, hey, by the way, the customer's asking a question. Is it possible that you could answer their question without necessarily giving them a price? It amazes me how we make statements because we've got this vast knowledge. Carm, you have no idea how long I've been doing this. And I had to go to Japan to turn that wrench just the right way. I mean, that took years for me to. And so I'm not going to lower myself on the phone by talking to you about something that we don't know what's wrong with it at this point. What I'm getting at is we make statements and we wonder why the phone hangs up. We wonder why we just threw away $30 in Google AdWords. And at no point do we engage the customer and say, look, I can give you a price. I'm just not sure whether we're talking about the same thing here. Would you allow me to help you save some money? And that to me is an entry point. If they're available, then they'll engage us over the phone. And it's amazing how many times we get past that nonsense of, can you give me a price over the phone? I often use, in our last conversation that we had before about parenting, Dad will say, no, you can't have dinner because you can't have ice cream because you haven't had dinner yet. And no, a block. I'm going to be the block. Mom is wise enough to say, well, of course, honey, you can have ice cream right after we have dinner. So that both of them are saying the exact same thing. Both of them are placing a condition. Both of them are in charge as parents. We are in charge as professionals because we're providing said service.
Sure.
And yet we allow the customer to take on the moral high ground. Oh, you're not going to give me a price? I'll call somebody who will. And then they hung up the phone. And we lose them because we're the good shop. We're the people that they should be coming to. Remember, folks, we're the cheapest ones in town. We're the best option for that customer. And because we don't know how to talk to them, we lose them.
Yeah.
Two ships in the night. That to me is a tragedy in our industry. Think about the millions of dollars that we waste in advertising as an industry because we don't know how to talk to people. We don't know how to ask questions instead of making silly statements that don't take us anywhere with the customer. So this is another one of those topics here. It amazes me how many really smart people, how many smart operators that I know and respect and I love will just say, Bill, no, you're being naive here. No, we just tell them up front all the things that we have to do and how we're going to handle it and all this other stuff. And I go back and I think to myself, you're supposed to book the appointment. You're supposed to bring them in the door. That's all that matters. And then what happens is the rebuttal is, well, how do you know they're the right people that come in? And so my answer to that is, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want them in my building when we're having a conversation over a cup of coffee or something like that. I want them to see who I have as a team back here. And I suspect, and I believe, that when they come in the door, very few of them are going to want to walk back out. Regardless, I can take them from their idea of how cheap it's going to be to my idea of how we're going to do this the right way. And we'll meet at the place where it's least expensive. It's just that we have to walk them past this idea that they think this price is the most important thing we're talking about here. It's kind of like, imagine you and I walking up to a beautiful woman somewhere and saying, how much? You're going to get yourself slapped for good reason. And that's the conversation we're having. And unfortunately, a lot of us take offense and they say figuratively saying on the phone, do you think I'm that kind of a guy? This is an inappropriate question. I'm insulted. And so because you sound insulted, again, that person goes away.
Well, Billy, it all goes back to the fact that they don't know what else to ask. And again, you can argue what's the percentage that the service advisor needs to spend on the phone. And there's all kinds of software and analytics going on out there that are showing what percentage the client talks, what percentage your service advisor speaks, and basically who is controlling the conversation. And if all they say is how much, and then we have to have dead air, we're going to look up something or we have some kind of standard thing on a chart, doesn't mean that the sale. I would love to see the statistics. If we do a how much, what's the percentage we can close a deal and get an appointment? Probably low.
There's situations where like the third time a customer says, well, are you going to give me your price or am I going to hang up? We have the answer for that customer. If you ask me, Mr. Customer, how much this brake job is going to cost, I can tell you that over the 25 years that we've been in business, having serviced thousands, tens of thousands of vehicles, the average price of a brake job is around $500 to $700. How does that sound to you? And guess what happened? We've scratched that itch, and that customer is going to either going to say, well, that sounds too much money. I'm going to hang up and go find Joe Blow for half the price for $99 brake job. Or he's going to come down to my level and say, okay, he's answered that question. What do I ask next? I guess we book the appointment for the inspection. And we don't know how to talk to people like this as an industry.
You want to invest in the vehicle. I understand the engine goes forward, but the brakes stop you. Let's do it as cheaply as we possibly can.
Let me save you some money. Is the love language.
Exactly.
Let me help you by saving you some money here.
Yeah. How much do you love your wife and children?
Yeah.
We can lower the price if you don't love them. Yeah.
Oh, dear. And so some really bad advice that exists out there, and that would be DVIs are just a waste of time, right, Judy?
Mm-hmm. Yes. They do take extra time, but they sell so much more because the customer can touch it almost. A picture's worth 1,000 words, bottom line, end of story. There's just nothing else better. And if you want to think that I have a picture in my shop of something bad so that I can show you, then come on in and let's show you right in front of your face. But I think many people that come to us know that we're not going to do that. We're not going to pull the wool over their eyes. This is really what your brake shoes look like. This is really what your tires look like. It's unbelievable that people don't even know but I grew up in the car world, so that maybe that's just not fair. But people don't even realize that they're almost down to secondary tread. That something that simple. Are you aware that this tire is wearing very crooked? We really should look into what's going on here. And DVIs are just wonderful because you're showing them, hey, this is good now, but in another 6 months, we need to really address this again and be sure what's going on.
Do people know that the components on their vehicle actually wear out? That it's not going to be new forever?
Yes, they do.
They do. They really do.
I think they hope it might not. It's sort of like the blindness. It's like, well, let's just shut our eyes and maybe it won't happen to me. And we do that every day on other things in the household. But car itself, I think people will tend to hope that it doesn't happen with their car. And some friend told them that this is the kind of car to buy because you don't have to do anything to it.
Yes.
And we all love that comment because we want to fall on the ground laughing or just get pissed and hit the wall or smack the wall or something or kick the wall.
Yeah. Oh, you bought a Toyota that'll last forever.
Yes, and it won't need service for 100,000 miles.
Yeah. On
Forever,
4 months, I haven't spent anything on my car. Can I get 5, maybe 6?
Yeah. And they can probably, but in the 7th month, ta-da.
Wait a minute. We gotta record that, Judy. Every time we have a monumental good think thing here, we're gonna play the Judy ta-da.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, sooner or later it's going to get you.
Jesse, any other great pieces of terrible advice that you've been hearing lately and are afraid to even try it?
No, the one on the coaching is about the one that has stuck out the most with me.
And we hear that a lot. We really, truly hear that a lot. And unfortunately, again, I've got friends that I've been an advocate saying, please, I can't tell you who. I'm kind of so independent as
Yeah.
a podcaster in the industry. I know everybody, but go to the website, type in the word coach, listen to them. I've got all kinds of places where you can listen to all these great coaches speak just, about things in the industry. Pick one if you want. You tell me, I'll give you a phone number or I'll introduce you. The people that have decided to do this in their lifetime, even the new owners who feel it's brand new, they ended up paying for the coach in 3 or 4 or 5 months.
Oh, yeah.
And they're well on their way to an unrivaled level of wealth growth. And I think that was something about 5 years ago, everyone. What hit me about being a business person is about all the risk that you've taken, the money you've invested, the time that you put in. Yeah, you're paying for other people's lives who work for you, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's your wealth that you're working on, not only to build a succession plan, but I don't think people stop to realize that they have a retirement to consider, they have healthcare to consider, they have college to consider if they have a family. And to the point, let me see, a roof is supposed to last how long? And so is the furnace. And so are all these other componentries that we have that we live around with. Yeah, let me see, the chainsaw is supposed to last, 100 years? They don't. And all these things that we pay money to consume. Are we always going to Lowe's to buy something, to fix something in the house? Why would we not want to think about the vehicle? And it goes
Yeah.
it really does go back to the whole coaching and concept. And the successful people, the unrivaled successful people, you all on this call here are making such great decisions because you can rely back on all that great advice you got. And the other thing I love about coaching is that if you don't sign any long-term agreements, and maybe some of you will and you feel comfortable with it, and there's some programs out there that are like that, but if not, then it's easy to move between different philosophies and concepts, and to be sure that you're getting yourself strategic placement. Coaches, I really think, help the individual get to the next level. It's not, let's see, what do I have to do in my business now? Let's talk about you. And that's the toughest part to come and get over. Listen, I had a coach when I first started in podcasting, and a very successful podcaster became a coach. He wasn't necessarily easy on me because I didn't meet his deadline on things. And I said, ooh, all right, maybe don't sleep tonight because you're pissed. but you better get your ass in gear. You're paying big money for this because you have a dream. And I have a dream of being a mechanic, or I have a dream of being a wealth creator for peoples. What is it that you want to do or be?
Well, there's coaches, and then there's also, mentorship groups as well. If you can't afford the coach, I know a few people that
Yep.
run different small panels of mentor groups that are free, and you just go in there, and like I was in one, and they taught me the numbers, and they taught me a lot of other things that was the basis that I needed to be able to build a business that would ultimately be able to help me afford a coach and move on further. So those mentorship panels are great too, because it's a lot of other shop owners that are just giving you the better advice that you need to be able to build a foundation.
Totally agree with you, Jesse. I've been in a few of those. I'm in an independent group here in Buffalo, and you know what's marvelous about what I see that's going on in the industry? And it goes back to my old story. The worst advice you've ever gotten is, wait a minute, no, I'm not going to share an idea with you. It's my secret sauce. My secret sauce just so happens to be the worst advice you could ever give yourself. And what I love about networking groups that are free, what I love about that exists here in our town, is the magic happens when the meeting's over and the connections are made, and he says, listen,
Exactly.
let me drive out, let me follow you to your shop, let me just hang out. People are doing personal reviews of each other's place and offering an idea or three. I'll say it again, and I probably said it 30 times in the last 9.5 years. When you steal an idea, oh my God, stealing, I don't want to do that to Bill. No, when you steal an idea and you make it your own and you bring it into your business that has its own culture, its own people, its own surrounding, its own marketplace, it ends up becoming yours. And it's nothing like what Bill used to have, but now it's yours. And there may be the bottom half of it is Bill's idea, but the top half ended up becoming our way.
Yeah.
Yeah. What Carm is saying, Jesse, is you're absolutely right. There are mentorship groups. I would encourage you to have a two-phased approach to this. Have a trusted group of a handful of shop owners that you can reach out to bounce things off of. But as far as coaching is concerned, that's a very private thing that you want to reserve with somebody that's willing to call you out on your BS. Fellow shop owners may not be able to. You call me up, I may not have time to spend the kind of time that a coach is going to have to. And when you're doing that on a regular basis, things show up in patterns where a proper coach is going to say, dude, what's this here? How is it that every week you're always 10 minutes late to the meeting? There's always an excuse about why you didn't get your stuff done. What's up with all that? And I would tell you that if you don't have a coach that's willing to fire you over the things that you're not doing, he or she's not worth hiring. That's probably the best advice I can give you on that. You got to have somebody that's willing to call you out on your stuff. And at least that's my story, accountability, because I squirm. I can get out of things. I'm very hard to pin down. And I've had 3 different coaching companies as a result of that. And sadly, I'm the one that failed them. They didn't fail me. They were all good ones.
Definitely.
That's what happened. I wasn't ready for some of that stuff. And so I had to, and so expect yourself to be in multiple coaching companies over the course of your career. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Just to add to that, Judy knows me for a long time, and I was a young, brash guy when I started in my own shop, and it was about, world dominance in my area. And I'm driving, and I did. I mean, there were 2 Amcos and 2 Cotmans in a 30-mile radius, and I put them all out of business. I was a brash, not humble person. And when you get a coach, like, forget who's made the comment, that they call you on your deadlines, your BS, and the stuff that you can't see because it's in your blinders of your personality.
Yeah.
And whatever it is that they call you out, you're going to have to be humble to listen to someone's perspective of those things, or you're not going to grow. You can have every company in the world come at you, but if you can't receive the advice in humility, it's going to take a long time to grow. That's advice from an old guy who struggled with humility when I was in my 30s, and because I had this, listen, I didn't know everything, but I was going to get there before anybody else. And I was going to get the job done if it took me 20 hours a day. And don't you dare come to me and tell me this. I know what I'm doing. Even if I didn't say it, it was in my head.
Yeah.
So when you get to the point where you think you're resenting someone's input, then you got to ask, why are they giving you input? Whether it's a stranger or a person you're giving money to give you advice, they're giving you input. There's something to it that you, in humility, got to think about. Ask other people that are close to you. If you can't see it, that's how you grow, and that's how you get to reach your goals. Hopefully, these panels help younger people learn quicker than we did, but we got to come to a place of humility, not just with advice, but with our customers, with our vendors. And when you do that, it just, things just open up for you, is all I can say to you.
Brian, that was a hell of a confession and well appreciated. And I don't say that in jest, because there's an awful lot of people that once they realize that they were the problem, then they blossom and they become incredible people. Now, what a beautiful home you have. Is that a priceless Steinway behind you?
It is.
That's what I thought.
All 88 keys are there.
And that's what happens when you sell your business. You can buy one of those Steinway pianos.
He didn't tell you about his second website. His dog, Google, he sold the website. And so that's how he bought that. Stole my thunder.
Well, let me make a comment about the worst advice, and then let's wrap this thing up, because this was fun. We went down some interesting rabbit holes. And some of the worst advice that anyone can get could be on social media. Yeah. When you ask a question on social and you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting to find the answer you're looking for, it's probably the worst advice you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
Because it's your own. And it's coming right back at you. So anyway, this was great. Let's go around the room quickly. Is there anything else we can add? Judy, we'll go right around the room. Judy, then Brian, Jesse, and then my friend Bill. Judy?
I saved this because it was on one of the Auto Shop Owners Hangout podcasts. It was Ted Miller put it up. I don't know Ted Miller, but this is amazing. And I'm sure it's not new to him. It's not written by him, but it came somehow. It said, stop lowballing your business to satisfy cheap people. They pay full price for Starbucks, Nikes, Stanley Cups, Oakleys, and iPhones. They can pay you too. And I went, you're right.
Amen. I don't know about what's going on with Starbucks. They're just changing their new CEO. But I mean, you know what's bothering me? Let me get this off my chest. Everybody, I went to the county fair the other day. They want to charge $22 to get in and $15 for a hamburger. And I'm thinking, are we that crazy? Are we that stupid? Or is it that we're that gullible because prices are going up so crazy? Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go there. But I just may be right. Brian?
Well, one of the themes that I kept hearing today is integrity, going to sleep at night, and how we go about this is, again, wrapping up my worst advice. I was told by a district manager when I was a district manager for a chain transmission shop before I opened up my own. He said, Brian, your problem is that you're too honest. You see, they had a deceptive sales memorized script, which never gave away that price, like Bill said, or talked about price over the phone. It was delayed, get the car in. And then once the car was in, it was, we don't know what's wrong with it. We have to pull it out of the car, totally disassemble it. All we're talking about now is $225. Well, how much more would it be? Don't know till we tear it down. They wanted me to memorize this script and sell that. And yes, it can give you a higher ticket price on average, but you're not going to you're going to burn through your community in about 5 years, and then you're done. So I remembered a story from the Bible of the David and Goliath, and how David was going to go fight Goliath, and the king of Israel wanted to put his armor on David, and he was a man, and David was still a teenager. And he said, I can't move in this. I can't fight the way I'm meant to fight in this suit of armor. He goes, oh, I've killed a bear and I've killed a lion with just my slingshot out in the wilderness protecting my father's sheep. So you got to be who you are. Go to battle with who you are, with your integrity. The district manager in the home office told me, you're just taking over this store. Do it your way. But if it doesn't work, because you're not doing it our way, we're going to let you go. And I took a store from doing $3,000 in weekly sales, that was 1987, to $30,000. They left me alone. So do it with integrity. We don't have to give away the farm if we're not asked over the phone. But like Bill said, people ask, it's an honest question, and we have to give them a valid answer, not just to put them off to get them in.
So you used your slingshot, Brian. Good for you. Jesse, any final words, sir?
Yeah, so like my dad 30 years ago when he was searching for his business coach, it was probably in the yellow pages where there probably wasn't very many options. And where today we have social media, we have websites, and so many other ways to find, a good coach or a good mentor group or whatever it is. My point is learn to grow, become a better business owner, mechanic, service advisor, or person, whatever it is. But I have a mentorship group that helps with my business, but I also have a life coach that helps me regularly to help me get through things that are going to help me become a better business person. So that's my advice is, we have so many ways and tools available to find someone to help you grow in whatever field it is, that find that person and find that source. Because, a year ago when I was trying to do this, I was looking for books on business, on how to run a better business. And there was nothing that I could find for auto repair, but I found Carm's podcast, which technology helped me find that. And so that opened up this whole world that, in my opinion, if I hadn't found, I would still be in the mindset that, auto repair is too competitive. There's so much competition in my area that I can't do it. Where now it's like, I know that there's so many cars that the shops in my area can't service all of them. And now I have taken it, I'm trying to start a panel like you have, Carm, in Buffalo with other shop owners to get together. And I'm trying to figure out how to start that. But
hey, listen, you and I should talk, and I'll tell you exactly how it happened and how quickly it came together.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Really,
sir.
just let's set up a call in the next couple of days. Look, everyone knows that I'm big in a language shift in our industry. I've written this declaration. In fact, you can get it remarkableresults.biz/rise, the rise of the mechanical and technology specialist. Everyone I've ever given this to, the speeches that I've given on it, it's been accepted so well. And I've been really on a kick lately about the word training, to get rid of the word training and to replace it with education.
Yeah.
And the deeper I think about, and I was thinking night school the other day, Bill, and I came, oh, wait a minute. Isn't that really adult education? Isn't it really what we are? Aren't we all adults? So I've been playing with these words because every once in a while, something will come inside of an individual and resonate. Well, we got to train. Let me see, NFL training camp is going on right now, and they're doing repetitions, right? And they're exercising and they're pumping iron. Is that good for us, or should we go and get educated on things?
Yeah.
So that's, I think, some of the worst things that we have from my perspective is to say that we have to constantly train. And I want to change that to we have to constantly be educated. Bill, your last words.
So in 9.5 years, Carm, how many times have I said what my ex-boss has said before? Either we train the customer to do business our way, or the customer trains us to do business their way. Their way is almost always a 1-star review. Our way, we get a chance at a 5-star relationship. And my third talking point was about when we hear about don't take it personal. What do you mean don't take it personal? I've invested 40 years of my life in this industry. How do I not take it personal when the marketplace doesn't align with my view of how I should run my business? And what do I do when those things don't align? Who wins? Well, no one wins. We both lose. The shop loses because they're out of business, and the community loses because they don't have somebody servicing their community. And I guess what I'm saying here is take it personal. Make this business personal to you. Make it your religion. Make your people understand that we all have a core set of values that we have to follow. One of them is we don't do an oil change on a car without doing an inspection on it first. Because if the person's driving a death trap, this is not a customer we can do business with because they don't understand. They don't have the values that we have. So make it very personal to you, because whether you believe it or not, whether you think so or not, that business takes on your personality. Your people take on your personality. And if you don't believe that, walk into a business and see whether everybody's running around with their head cut off and see how the boss is doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. A final comment, Bill, and you inspired me to think this in your final remarks here, is the client is training us into their methodology. I want a price, I want this, I want that. They're training you because they don't know what else to ask. They're afraid. They've done a little YouTube research. They've gone on the websites. They've looked around. But we need to educate. So give me the word educate. Let's own that word educate in everything that we do, unless we need to educate the customer while they're trying to train us.
Yeah. The customer's begging us to tell them why it's more expensive for me to bring my brake pads into you to do my brakes.
Yeah.
They're begging you to tell them why it's more expensive, why it's potentially catastrophic for you and for them when they bring their steak in for you to cook it for them. And what do we say? No, we don't do that. Click.
I only do
or
ribeyes.
You know,
I only do ribeyes. I hear you. And ribeyes are the most expensive. Yes. Oh, prime ribs. Jacket. Let's go. This was great. Thank you all so much, Judy Zimmerman Walters. I know better. Co-owner, CEO Zimmerman's, Bill Nalu, CEO, Interstate Automotive, Madison Heights, Michigan. Judy's from Mechanicsburg, PA. Brian Renograd, former shop owner, now fleet manager at Chrysler dealership. Great background in the automotive. I loved hearing some of your stories. Thank you for coming on the show. It's first time. And then Jesse Matthews, Crown Auto Repair in Fredericksburg, VA. Insightful, interesting. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
bye, gang.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, Bill. Bye, Judy.
Bye.